Hello, this is Vicki Martinez. I am one of the volunteers here at Giving Grace Foundation, and this is Love Thy Neighbor Moments. And today we are going to talk about sisters. And whether you have a sister, or maybe you just have a brother, or maybe you don't have either one, but as siblings growing up, people do tend to have disagreements. And that's the reason I kind of chose Mary and Martha. Because I think in every family, regardless of age, there's little squabbles here and there, but at the end of the day, we're all family. So I just want to start off in Luke 10 and 38. And this is Jesus and the disciples, and they're traveling. And it says, now it came to pass as they went, they had entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. So Martha is the first one that is mentioned about this home. So it doesn't really give a lot of information about Martha's life, but since it's Martha's home, it wouldn't be too far-fetched that maybe Martha is a widow, but there's a reason why this is called Martha's home. And she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus's feet and heard his word. But Martha was cumbered, which means she was kind of bothered about much serving, and came to him and said, Lord, dost thou not care that my sister have left me to serve alone? Bid her therefore that she help me. So what you're seeing here is, Martha is, I would say, in the kitchen preparing the food for Jesus and the disciples. And Mary is sitting at the foot of Jesus, and she is, listening to him and seeking wisdom from him. And like a sponge, she's soaking up everything she can from Jesus. And Mary kind of gets stuck. She's not seeing the whole picture. She is just upset because, hey, I'm in here in the kitchen doing this all by myself. And, who knows? Maybe they had an agreement that they were going to do this together, and nothing is really said. So we don't know why Mary's in the kitchen by herself. Martha was in the kitchen by herself. Did Mary agree to help? And then she decides to sit at the foot of Jesus. We just don't know. There's just not enough in the Bible to tell us. So Martha actually kind of embarrasses Mary, and for her to say that to Jesus, tell her to get up and help me. That's a brave woman. And let me see what Jesus says. So Jesus answered, or getting on to Martha, he kind of takes up for Mary and said, Mary's exactly where she needs to be. Now, in the Christian world, let's say, Mary and Martha, there's a company actually, I believe it started out with greeting cards, and it is called Mary and Martha. They have home decor, they have self-help books, journals, Bible studies, and there's two books that really kind of caught my eye. And one is called Having a Mary Heart in a Martha World. That's one of the titles. The second title of one of the books is called Made Like Martha, Good News for Who Get Things Done. So it's almost like they're pitting Martha and Mary against each other, because Mary, has a heart for Jesus, but so does Martha. She's just serving him and wanting to get things done. And in a way, I'm kind of like Martha. I know, like let's say Thanksgiving, for example, I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking, I'm beating mashed potatoes, I'm doing all this. And, some people are in the living room and they're sitting and relaxing. And, it's really easy to get stuck in that moment. Let's think about what's important here. And then it is nice to be able to sit and absorb some conversation. So in the Christian world, it seems to be they do kind of pit Mary against Martha. And so we're going to just explore that a little bit. And so another thing is, during this time frame, everyone was searching for Jesus. They were he was radical, and people were searching for him. And Martha still accepted him into her home and the disciples. So Martha was fearless. She just took them in and she prepared the meal and she fed them. And that kind of speaks a lot about Martha. And so she accommodated everyone, made them comfortable, and made the day wonderful. And so Jesus, at the end, he honored and exalted Mary for being at his feet and soaking up that wisdom. And even though Martha was publicly embarrassing her, Jesus says, no, Mary is right to sit and listen. So my next verse I want to read is John 11. And it's 11 through 32, and I may not read all of it, but I do want to, okay, 11 through 32. Okay, so as you can tell, Jesus had a special, let's say, friendship with Mary and Martha. And they had a brother named Lazarus. Now, this is all going to come together now. For the people that don't know who Mary and Martha are, their brother was Lazarus. And Jesus loved this family. And, he had been to their house multiple times. And I also want to read real quick. Now, a certain man was sick named Lazarus, which was Mary and Martha's brother. Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with the ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore his sisters sent unto him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom thou lovest is sick. They're speaking of Lazarus. You love Lazarus, and he is very, very ill. When Jesus heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. Now, we're getting to something really important here. Now, Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. When he had heard, therefore, that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. So it took a day for the messenger to reach Jesus, and then Jesus stayed two more days, and then it took another day for the messenger and Jesus to get back to Lazarus, Mary, and Martha's home. So Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. And then after that saith he to his disciples, let us go into Judea again. His disciples say unto him, Master, the Jews of late sought to stone thee, and goest thou hither again? Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours in a day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, but he seeth the light of the world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him. These things said he. And after that he said unto them, Our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may awake him out of sleep. Then said his disciples, Lord, if he is asleep, he shall do well. Howbeit Jesus spake of his death, but they thought that he had spoken of taking of rest and sleep. So the disciples are thinking Jesus is saying he's just asleep. But in reality, Lazarus is dead and has been dead for four entire days. Then Jesus said unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead. And I'm glad for your sakes that I was not there, to the intent ye may believe. Nevertheless, let us go unto him. So let's think about Mary and Martha for a second. So they love Jesus, and Jesus loves this family. So you can probably understand the confusion with Mary and Martha, how they have asked Jesus to come because their brother is sick, and he does not come right away. So there's going to be some confusion with the sisters. And then Lazarus does die, and they bury Lazarus. And so I would only imagine that confusion, and especially with Martha, because Martha is bold. I would believe that she would be thinking, why would he do this? Why isn't he here? But Jesus knew that people had already saw him heal the sick. So I think in Jesus's mind, he had to do something that no one had ever seen. So thus he stayed for 2 extra days, and then he went to the house of Lazarus. Now then, I want to, let me figure out here. And all the while, people are still looking for Jesus. Okay, so we are going to go to John 12, 1 through. No, actually, I want to finish this. I'm sorry. Okay, so then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto his fellow disciples, let us also go, that we may die with him. Then when Jesus came, he found that he had lain in the grave for 4 days already. Now Bethany was nigh unto Jerusalem, about 15 furlongs off. Now my understanding is it's about 2 miles from Jerusalem. And many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, Martha went and met him, but Mary sat still in the house. So, of course, Martha, the bold one, is going to run and meet Jesus. And Mary, more timid, she stayed in the house and sat still. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. But I know that even now, whatsoever you will ask of God, God will give it to thee. Jesus saith unto her, thy brother shall rise again. Martha saith unto him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. And Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? She said unto him, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which come into the world. And when she had said, she went her way and called Mary her sister secretly, saying, the Master is come and calleth for thee. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came unto him. Now, Jesus was not yet come into the town, so he hasn't even made it to Martha's home yet. This is like on the outskirts of town, let's say. And Mary rose up hastily and went out and followed her, saying, She goeth into the grave to weep there. Then when Mary was come where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying unto him, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping, which came with her, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled, and said, Where have ye laid him? And they said unto him, Lord, come and see. And Jesus wept. So Jesus, he wept over Lazarus' death because he could see the sorrow with Mary and Martha and the people that were around them. And Jesus wept with them. Then said the Jews, Behold how he loved him. And some of them said, Could not this man, which opened the eyes of the blind, have caused that even this man should not have died? Jesus, therefore, again groaning in himself, cometh to the grave, and it was a cave with a stone laid upon it. And Jesus said, Take ye away the stone. Martha, the sister of him that was dead, saith unto him, Lord, by this time he stinketh, for he has been dead for 4 days. And remember, this is a desert. Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid, and Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank thee, thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always. But because the people which stand by, I said it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me. And when thus had spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And when he had, and he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with a grave cloth on his face. And Jesus said, Loose him and let him go. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Jesus did believed on him. So Jesus did wait those extra days, but I believe the reason he did is because everyone had witnessed him healing people, healing the blind, healing the lame, but no one had witnessed him raise the dead. And I believe that is the reason why he stayed where he did for the 2 extra days. He had to make believers out of these people that he was, in fact, the Son of God. And as